Hi everybody, this is Michelle, the Crazy Homemaker. I wanted to do another bonus video to show off my cat. No, this is Meow. Bonus video to go over some things that I had said in my first 4 videos, and maybe you have questions about them, but I'm going to explain my versions of it. Plus, I have another explanation too of something that you might hear in working with energies and things like that. So let's start like with video number 1. Maybe you're wondering, why did I start dowsing? Well, a long time ago, 15, 20 years ago, I don't even remember, I have an issue, and my issue got me to ask a lot of questions because doctors didn't seem to have any particular help for me. It was either take medication, get an operation, or do nothing. That was everything that they had always said. So I came across a site one day where a lady was saying something about cutting cords. This lady's name is Anna Sace. She's very good, very influential, kind of a psychic person, but not as, she does a lot of things, let's put it that way, and things that I don't think I have the knowledge to do. But I thought, well, how hard could it be cutting cords? So on my way to work, I was going down the road, and I just said, God, I ask for help from Saint Michael, the Archangel, to cut all cords that I have within, that are connected to my complete being. And I said, thank you. I thought, well, that was easy. Well, it seems like by the time I got to my parking spot, which was only about another 5-minute drive, I felt like a whole huge weight was lifted off my shoulders. So this got me to thinking, that was all energy. That was all nothing physical. It wasn't a pill. It wasn't a surgery. It wasn't anything, but it was magical. And that's what started me into my foray with dowsing. My family has always had an interest in supernatural things, but my upbringing was strict Roman Catholic, and that stuff was taboo. My mother, however, always looked out the windows and was looking for aliens and spaceships and things like that in the sky. She ended up seeing some, and so did her sister, and we've had some fun stuff happen with spirits, ghosts, entities, people call them. Well, we'll get, that's my last subject, is my take on entities, okay? But that's how I got started into dowsing. Somebody had asked me if I use charts all the time that I dowse. The answer is no, because it's not really necessary if you think about it. All you're doing is getting information. You can ask for for a set of numbers. Is it this number? Is it between this number? Is it more than this number? Is it less than this number? And then you can go by individual digits. You know, like I had showed you with the grocery money. Yeah, you can, is whatever I'm looking for more than 5? If you get a yes, is it more than 10? Yes. More than 15, more than 20. You can use, you can go by 10s, 20s, 30s. You can go by 50s or 100s. It doesn't matter. Just as long as you can narrow it down, back down what your dowsing says. When your dowsing says this is the correct number, you ask, is this the correct number? Is the correct number whatever you know, like 56, is the correct number 56? And if you get a yes, that's great. Then you have your number. That would help you with how many pieces of something, how deep a well is, other things like that. And you wouldn't need to carry charts with you because you could do it that way. But let me show you my minus 10 plus 10 chart that I use all the time. Alrighty, turn you around. Oops. There it is. Handmade. Oops. Handmade. Nothing fantastic. My zero's on the top. My center is where that circle in the middle is where my pendulum rests. Minus 10 is the worst that whatever it is can be, and the plus 10 is the best at whatever it can be. And like I said before, my zero doesn't go up to that zero on there. My zero spins right in the middle of that center. And my voice saying the word zero gets the confirmation. So if I'm getting a large number in the positive scale over here, and if there is a zero in it, sometimes it'll go down to the 10 here. And so then like the 10, I would write that in the number after I've begun to write numbers down. And that would take the place of a zero. Also, if I do not get that far and my pendulum spins here in the middle, if I say zero, then it might go in a yes motion. Is there another number? Yes, and then it will find that next number for me, and I'll keep going like that. But this is my minus 10 to plus 10 chart. Very simple, nothing great. It has my handwriting on it, which to me means an awful lot because my energy was put into creating this. Alrighty, I'm gonna spin you around again. All right, so that is the only minus 10 and plus 10 chart that I use. I use my own. Okay. There is a beginner's dowsing free file. I'm going to find the link to the free file and place it in my description. It's called A Letter to Robin. That was the first thing that I ever read, and I read it front to back, and I followed a lot of the instructions on how to set up my dowsing system because it made sense to my brain. So I will put that up there for you to look through, and if you want to set up your dowsing system using that, you can use that as well. Alrighty. And my hand moving, yes, my hand moves. My pendulums are very heavy, and also the movements of the pendulum are because our bodies are moving the pendulum. We may try our hardest to keep it as still as possible. Sometimes you can, sometimes you can't. And the heavier the pendulum, the more your arm's going to move. That's why you'll see my hand move. You saw that my new fancy dancy expensive plumb bob was 120 grams, I think it was. And my other one, my heavy brass one, this is definitely a heavy brass, it's 102 grams. And I have a wooden one, which is a lot less. It's probably about, I don't even know, I've never weighed it, I don't think. So I'm not even gonna guess. But for me, they all work quite well. You kind of get addicted to buying something thinking one's gonna work better than the other, and actually, yes, they do. You'll get one that really is responsive to you, and you'll just work with it. So I was really surprised in finding, that a plumb bob, after clearing it, and that it actually worked really well. I like to have one with a point on the end because when I use a chart, I want to have the correct answer. I want to know exactly what the deal is, what my answer is. I don't want to have to guess with, you know, maybe like a crystal has a big fat bottom. I can't use those for dowsing information. They're great, but I can't use them for that because it's hard to keep your eyes focused in a small line, and it's better to have a point whenever you're checking on the chart for something. That's my opinion. Alrighty, let's see, on video 2. Yes, I use forced spins whenever something is not moving in the direction I want it to. And what I call my style is energy balancing. I don't know if anyone else calls it that, but that's exactly, in my opinion, what it is. You're changing, trying to get an energy to go back to where it should be normal, and to help somebody, and their bodies will readjust, or whatever's in their energetic field will readjust, or things that you can't see will readjust. And a lot of the things, I can't see it, and I would never have believed that it would actually work if I hadn't seen results on animals, because you cannot ask an animal to fake something. They're not going to understand you. And that's why I just love dowsing so much, because you can see a reaction, you can see a result, and hopefully you'll get to see these too. It'll take a while. It doesn't happen overnight. Nothing happens overnight. Once again, with the forced spin, stubborn cases. I usually don't force a spin because the pendulum will know what it'll hit the energy that I'm working with, and it'll do what it's supposed to do. But if it doesn't, like a left-hand spin, if it doesn't remove an energy, I will force that spin to remove the energy, and there should be a result. And the right-hand spin, if it doesn't right-hand spin after the pendulum stops working, then I will force the right-hand spin to add in beneficial energies, and there usually is a result. Some people don't believe that that would work, but there's a whole lot more behind the science of a pendulum moving, and you will find that out if you go to Pendulum Alchemy. Dr. Eric Hunter has lots of things to explain that. Some YouTube videos, he's on YouTube as well, and he does get into some science of the movement of the pendulum and the cone of energy that it emanates when it spins. So that's why I do force a spin. Alrighty. Sometimes, well, all the time, whenever I work and I'm alone, and you'll see me on here, if I'm really doing something, I will seem to zone out. That's because my brain is relaxing, and I really can't think of too much while I'm relaxing. And my side vision, I am watching the spin of the pendulum from my side vision. So I don't stare at it, and I don't make it do something. You can influence the spin of your pendulum if you think really hard about it. You can stop somebody else's pendulum. You can start somebody else's pendulum. You can make it do really weird and funky things, but that really is against what you're trying to accomplish. You want to try and accomplish something good. You don't want to mess up whatever it is just to prove a point. It's not beneficial to anybody, and it can work against you. So if you ask somebody to help you, do not try to mess with their pendulum or their spin, because you won't get a good answer. You will never be able to probably use that person again if you really wanted some help. So maybe they would decide not to work with you again because you tried to mess with what they were doing, and you really didn't feel that you wanted the truthful answer. If you don't want a truthful answer, don't ask somebody to help you. Okay. Whenever I zone out, I don't want to influence my pendulum, even if it's for myself. And I don't want the wrong answer, good or bad. If I don't want to hear it, I'm going to hear it anyways, and I'm going to take action as best as I can. But if you don't want to trust what you're doing, you're not going to get good answers hardly ever. So trust whatever it is, take action on it. That's a pretty big thing for me. That's how I learned. That's how things happen for me. Okay. So if you trust what you get and you take action on it, then you should do some good. Okay, video 3. I mentioned the pendulum coming to a dead stop. When my pendulum comes to a dead stop, it could mean that I'm not supposed to dowse at this time. So you can ask, am I supposed to dowse at this time? Am I supposed to dowse for this person at this time? Is it beneficial to them? Is it beneficial to me? Let's see, you may not have permission from their guides, or their energy, or their creator to get information for them. You can ask later. Yeah, just ask right then and there, can I do this later? Am I able to do this later? Will a later time be more beneficial for me to dowse for this person? And a lot of times you'll get a yes, and then you can ask, use your chart, your -10+10 chart. How long do I need to wait? If you get it, when you get a number, you say, is it seconds? Is it minutes? Is it hours? Is it days? Is it months? Is it years? And ask for a time frame, and you will get an answer. You might not like the answer, but write it down, put it in a file, and come back to it at that time. Also, a dead stop might mean that your questions are too confusing to the energy. You might be throwing too much information out for a good solid yes or no answer. What we'll try to do here is get small amounts of information, and by writing them down in your notebook, it can lead you down a path, and you can ask more questions that way. If you try to make a big, huge, long question and it doesn't make any sense, or it has too much stuff in it, then you won't get a good answer. And probably the next video, I will show you how I do a long question that will be beneficial to you, that will have the information in it that you need, that you can get a yes and no answer after you ask it. And it will not be confusing, even though it might sound confusing, but it's just a lot of information, like a who, what, when, where, why kind of statement. And then I'll teach you how to get that perfected in the way I do it. All right, let's see. Now you might see that my pendulum, whenever I ask a question, the next question, it'll circle either left or right to change direction. That's what I want it to do for me. I want to be able to see that there is a differentiation between one question and the next question. and a small circle that my pendulum will do to give me a yes or a no will do that for me. That's what I require. That's what I want. That's what I've trained my mind to instill in the energy around me and in my pendulum, my dowsing system. So that's what those little itty bitty circles, that's how I can tell that the answer is going to change from a yes to a no. And even if it's a yes to a yes, it'll still do a circle so that I know that there's two questions being answered. Same with numbers. It will do the same. If I go from one number to another number, it'll circle and it'll go to the next number. It'll circle, go to the next number, circle, go to the next number until the numbers are done. And if my pendulum rests in that middle, just circling, I ask, is there a zero? And if there's a zero, then it just starts taking off, with the next number and the next number. So then you have to remember to write that zero down, because you may get one number. You may get a string of numbers as long as it takes, and it could be in the millions or the billions, which sounds really strange and really, really stupid. But if you don't work with it, you're never going to get a result. So whatever number you get, think of it that way. How many, like I used chords, how many chords are attached to me at this moment? If I get in the millions or the billions, there's a good possibility I've been around that many people in my lifetime, or had that many people have a connection to me somehow. And I don't discount anything. I take that number and I run with it. I work with it, and you'll be amazed at how quickly that number will go down to zero if it's something that's detrimental. All right, now video 4. I already went over part of this when asking for amounts without having a chart handy. You can, in sections, 5s, 10s, 20s, 30s, 50s, 100s, and whittle it down between the highest number and the next highest number. And it makes it really easy. You can start like, is it less than 100? 100's a lot. And if you go backwards, 99, 98, 97, it's going to take you forever. Is it less than 50? If you get a yes, then you go, is it less than 25? No. Is it more than 30? No. So then go for 25, 26, 27, 28, 29. And you'll get your number in there. It's really a fast way of doing it. You have it again until you get down to the last 5 or 10 numbers, and you'll get your number. Alrighty, and now here's the section. I've been seeing that a lot of people on some sites that I belong to, some Facebook sites, are asking about entities. And thank you, science fiction. They're making entities to be negative things. My opinion is totally different than what a lot of these people are thinking. They're thinking entities are demons, they're ghosts, they're harmful, wicked, whatever. That doesn't necessarily mean anything. An entity, what I think it is, it's someone or something which is out of its normal realm, it's out of its place, and it's looking for a way back, and it's causing problems because it doesn't know how to get back. They're going to find you and they're going to ask you for help, but you might not hear them. But if there's something there, your dowsing, your charts that you'll make, and later on I'll teach you my storyboard. You'll make one for your own. You don't copy anybody else's stuff, okay? I mean, you can, but not all of it's going to work for you. Only use what does work for you, and you'll be really, really good whenever you go down the road here of dowsing. What I like to liken an entity to is, say you go to the mall, or to a mall that you don't even know, and it's the first time you ever been there, and okay, I went into this store, or I went into the front entrance, and I'm going to go back there, and you remember how you got where you're at and everything. You get turned around and you go down aisle after aisle after aisle looking for that front entrance that you came in, and you're not going to be happy until you find that front entrance and find your car and find the place where you need to be, which is in your car. That's what an entity will be like. It'll be bouncing around your energy, your house, your yard, buildings, whatever, looking for its right and proper place. And it's going to be up to you to help it get to its right and proper place. Another way I like to put it is, I don't know if you remember that Dr. Seuss book called Horton Hears a Who. And Horton's that big elephant, and he hears this little voice coming from a dust speck sitting on a piece of clover, and he talks to them and everything, and people are making fun of him, and he says, but they're real, and they're like, no, you're crazy. And so Horton gets them together, and they sit in this dust speck on this piece of clover and say, we're here, we're here, we're here. And they keep saying that. And that's more or less to the way I see an entity, is it's trying to say, hey, I'm here, I need help. Can you please help me? They're going to find your energy. Your energy is going to change, and you're going to be able to help them because they're going to be finding you to ask for help. Like I said, might not be able to hear it, but if you think about it and say, there's something here, I need to take care of it, and blah, 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 then you'll learn how to do it. Because I know I wouldn't want to be stuck someplace. If somebody can help me and I can find them and know that they can do something for me, passing over and stuff, you betcha. I might be visiting one of you guys one day because I will need some help. Well, a lot of people don't believe anything until they come across it. And that's the thing with entities. Like I said, it might not be a bad one. With your minus 10 and plus 10 chart, you can find out if it is. If it goes into the minuses, like minus 10 is going to be as bad as a bad boy as you can get. But it doesn't mean that it is demonic or anything. It just means its energy is bad. You can ask, are you a human spirit? If you get a no, then are you an animal spirit? If you get a no, then you know you're working with something bad and you need to get help, unless you have special training to help this particular entity. You can ask them 3 times. Are you a human? Are you a human? Are you a human? Are you an animal? Are you an animal? And get an answer for each time. And at the third time, they have to tell you the truth. Okay? So if you definitely get a hit on an otherworldly negative energy, then ask somebody for help. I'm not one of those people who can help you. I don't really find that kind of stuff. There's people out there who can help you, so look for them, okay? before you work with any energy, just talk to them and get to know them. They're, if they were in human form at one time, then they have a feelings. They have they think of them as a person. Even though you can't see them, talk to them, get to know them before you whack them with anything that you've got, or help them. Find out exactly what it is what they need help with. Yeah, and now that I've debunked my, entities according to me, well, there are no such thing as ghosts. Guess again. Well, there's no such thing as fairies. Guess again. Well, there's no such thing as aliens. Guess again. There's no such thing as cryptids. Guess again. And so on, and so on, and so on. I find some of the strangest things. I don't know why I find them. It's in my storyboard. It comes up when I ask questions. I have had the strangest things show up. I've worked with them because they've showed up. Things have changed after I worked with it. So no matter what your dowsing tells you, you're not nuts. Really, you're not. You might think you are after the first couple times, but no, it's just something out there that nobody else understands. You're going to understand it after a while. You're going to know that things belong where they belong. And if you can help them, that's all the better. If you tend to get energies that are registering low on your scales, that's because you're probably thinking about stuff like that a lot. If you think about, well, if you don't think about anything, you're not going to be vibrating at the same frequency that these low frequency, that's why they call them low frequency energies. If you vibrate on low frequency, then you're going to collect low frequency energies. If you vibrate on a high frequency, then you're going to get high frequency energies. More in the human realm. Low frequency is more in the otherworldly realm, like I like to call it. So think about that too. How is your spiritual life? Do you do you practice on the positive side, or do you practice on a negative side? That's what you're going to have to do too. You're going to have to think, do I want to practice dowsing on the positive side, or do I want to practice dowsing on the negative side? Whatever you think about, it's going to come to you. Law of attraction. You vibrate at that frequency, it's coming back to you. All right, and on this weird thing about ghosts and fairies and gnomes and things, make yourself a chart that has the weirdest things on there that you could think of. It might be your best friend chart. Who knows? Just write it down. You can hover your pendulum over it. Is this what I'm looking for right now? Is it one of these? And it'll tell you yes or no. Alrighty. One of the things, like I told you before, I find out how positive or how negative it is on the -10 +10 chart. I also find out how many there are, and if I know how to clear it, I will clear it, and I will keep clearing it until there are no more left, until I've helped everything on its way that should be on the way. I'll ask too, do I have the ability or the knowledge to do this work? Do I have this ability to clear this? Do I have this ability to send the fairies back outside of my house? Do I have the ability to cross the spirit over into the spirit world. Get it to its proper place, not just any place in the spirit world, because it might be bouncing around out there and it'll come back to you and ask you for help again. And you just want to get it right. Try to get it as right as you possibly can the first time around so you don't have to do it again. Okay? And also another thing that I had done early on is make a chart of all the things that you know how to do. Do you know how to dowse? Do you know how to read tarot? Do you know how to read oracles? Do you know how to do Reiki? Do you do homeopathy? Do you do quantum touch? Just write all these things down on a chart and ask, which one of these things do I need to do right now to help whatever it is? Do I need to get more information? What do I need to do now? Will so-and-so benefit more from which thing that I do first? And is there anything more that I need to do for this person? What should I use for that? So it's kind of good to make a nice chart like that as well. Yeah, so that's it that I have on here. Just I had a couple more scratches, but it was everything that I've gone over already. Everything I wanted you to know from these 4 videos, plus my take on entities. So if dowsing is still for you, you're going to run into entities. You're going to work with them. It's best to work with them than against them. If you have to work against them and you know how, then by all means do so. If you don't, get help. Like I said, I'm not one of those people to help you with those horrible things. So I hope you got a little something out of this, maybe learned a little more about me, about what I said in the other videos. And I thank you for stopping by, and I hope you stop by again. Take care and live in peace.